So this is me drawing Hogan. This is the first full-time tutorial that I will be putting onto my Patreon channel. So on the Patreon channel, you will be able to see this tutorial in real time. So the full length of the tutorial is about 9 hours, split into 3 different 3-hour videos. And I will talk you through everything that I am doing in this video. So what you're seeing at the moment is me putting in the base layers on Hogan. So I've used the soft pastel sticks to pop those colors in. So I've got a good grounding to work on. And then I've pushed that color into the page and I'm using my I'm using my pastel pencils to start to put in the details. So what I'm doing now is I'm just working my way around the page, going from dark to light, and in some cases light to dark where I want those light colors to really show. And I'm just starting to put in the details of Hogan's little hairs. So what you're seeing is me working all around this area. I am sort of darting in between the top of his head, his eye, and his ear, because every now and again I will see different things that jump out at me that need doing, and the whole area needs to work together so that it looks like it all joins as one thing rather than all separate elements. So I've just moved down the face slightly. I'm using some pan pastels as well as the soft pastels just to start to get that base layer in. And again, I'm going back in with the pastel pencils just to start to get the details in on top. So I always work that way. I work with the soft pastel sticks or the pan pastels to begin with, sometimes pastel pencils as well, depending on the area that I'm doing, how big it is. But normally the pastels, the soft pastels and the pan pastels. So I use those as a base layer. I get them in to get my solid base, my grounding, my map, and then I start to work in on top of that with the pencils. So as you can see, I'm using the pencils to make the basic shape of the portrait. So what I mean by that is I am figuring out which way the hairs go to make the shape of the face. And I am gradually building up the layers, always going in the correct direction. You can see that I work over the same area several times just to get that exactly right. I'm doing the mouth at the moment, so I'm working on the outline of the mouth, just getting that shape in, getting the hair in around because I'll need to overlap over that, so I need to get it in first. And then I can go back to the actual mouth area and get in some of those little hairs that overlap. So now I'm starting to work on the tongue. I'm putting in all my lovely colours, my purples and my pinks, and then starting to get those little teeth in. Working from dark to light, gradually lightening up the colours as I go. I'm now working on the nose. So he had a browny pinky nose. So I'm looking at a different photo of him for reference for the nose, just because the photo I was working from wasn't particularly clear. And now back into the top of the face. So again, using those soft pastels just to get in my base layer and then going over with the pastel pencils to get the detail in. And then I'm going to start working on the eye as well. So I get that outline of the eye in with the black, and then I start to work on the other colours to make it look realistic. So lots of colours go into eyes. It's not just always what you see. There are purples, there are greens, there are pinks, there are all sorts of colours in there. And I talk through exactly what I'm doing on the Patreon tutorial. So as you can see, I used a pastel pencil there for some of that base layer. So it's not always just the pastel sticks or the pan pastels. And again, I'm just getting in that basic shape, making sure that all the hairs are going in the correct direction and building up from dark to light. Again, I will talk you through all of this in real time on the full length tutorial. You can find a link to that Patreon tutorial in the information for this video. So I'm now working on the other ear, getting all those lovely colours in, making sure I get those dark tones to make this look realistic, and getting in some lovely bright yellows as well where the sun is catching on the top of his head. You want to make sure you get those lovely darks and lights in to make sure that they contrast with each other to get your realism. You want to be able to create that depth. So I'm just working on the body now. So I'm getting in the soft pastel sticks. I think it's a lot of the Natural Earth range I used here, just to get those colours grounded in, and then starting to go over again with the pencils to get the detail in. Working from left to right so I don't smudge it too badly because I am right-handed. So if you're left-handed, you would obviously work in the opposite way. And just starting to get some of those details in around the face before I move on to the bottom right-hand corner, because I don't want to be leaning on that while I'm trying to work on the rest of the face. Now, something which happened with Hogan's tutorial with his portrait is when the portrait was finished, his mum asked for a couple of changes, which I was quite happy to make. But there is an extra section at the end of this tutorial showing you just how I adapted the colors slightly after it was technically finished. So I changed some of the more white tones to more yellowy tones, which is what I'm doing now. Just going over it, just adapting some of those colors, just changing the tone slightly. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it helped you, and hopefully you'll come and join me for the real-time tutorial on Patreon. Please do have a look at the links at the bottom of this video. They will show you how to go to my website, where I link to all of my different Patreon videos, and there is a link to my Patreon channels. So that's nearly the end of this video. If you enjoyed this, then please do hit subscribe, and I will be posting more content like this soon. So see you soon. Bye.